The following is a sponsored program paid for by Yaba TV.
Akwaba, welcome to our beautiful show. And Akwaba means welcome from Ghana. I'm wearing all Ghanaian today, so I do want to welcome you to our show, the Yaba TV show. I am your host, Sia. Today we are going to continue with our series, Experience Africa, with Otiana Jeffrey Okach. Otiana is someone that you've seen on our show several times before, and yes, he will come on our show once a month to dialogue with us about the continent of Africa. He has a passion for that, and of course, I have a passion for that. We want to bring to you what Africa really is. So our show today is very exceptional. So tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell everybody you know about our beautiful show, the Yaba TV show. We'll be back in a moment. You are back with our brilliant show, the Yaba TV show. I am your host, Sia. Look at these vibrant colors that I have on today. I'm actually representing 3 countries here. The kente cloth from Ghana, the earring from Mali, the beads from Senegal. So it's all international. So our show is really very diverse, as you know. And this topic is a continuation of our series, Experiencing Africa. And I have with me Otiana Jeffrey Okach, who is not a stranger on Yaba TV. And some of you have dialogue with us, calling us and letting us know how well is bringing Africa out of your stomach. That's the dialogue, that's the exact words that some people wrote. So I do appreciate that. And for some of you that are still yet to contact us, we're expecting some communication or level of communication from you. But at this point, I'd like to welcome my guest on the show, Otiana. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a real honor to be with you again. And thank you for all that you do through this show and your other works.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So you're not a stranger on Yaba TV, like I just said. People are beginning to know your name. Some of them say Otiana, but it's Otiano.
Yes.
That's how I pronounce it, Otiano. Yes. That's the African way.
That is my yes.
So the fact that you're not a stranger, but there are a few people who are beginning to love our show, and this might be their first time either watching or they've watched it before and they come back again. Yes. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
I appreciate the question, and my name is Otieno Okach, of course, and my father is from Kenya, and so I'm a Kenyan from the connection to my father. My mother's from here, and I've really immersed myself in the African culture as much as I can as an amateur historian and a business person. But I also run an agency called PALS, and PALS is a professional caregiver service that operates from Santa Barbara to all over LA County.
Yes.
And we provide services for people with disabilities. So job skills, training, community training, skills that we all need, like learning how to ride the bus or how to dress oneself. Depends on what the person needs. And so that's our service. That's the work that we do. I've been doing it for over 20 years and absolutely love the work.
Or even you have to have confidence. There are some people with the mental disabilities that you mentioned, they may not have confidence, but with your help, they can develop that confidence again in their life.
Absolutely, and again, it depends on the person that we're working with. There may be a person who loves to interact with folks, but maybe stands too close when they talk. So our training, our working with them would be a little different than someone who really can handle that portion of living, that aspect of living, but needs help learning how to ride the bus independently to a job that they hope to get. So we really focus on what each individual needs, and the community of people with disabilities is pretty diverse. You know, it's pretty broad. So oftentimes the image folks have is somebody in a wheelchair, but that's actually a minority of the people who have intellectual disabilities. Many may even have a job at the grocery store, bagging your groceries, or some other job. There's a place for everyone, and our role at PALS is to try to help those folks find that place.
Bring out the beauty in them.
Bring out the beauty in them, absolutely. Absolutely.
Interesting. So let's talk about Africa. I know you and I, you have a passion. I have a passion. We mentioned it the last time. It's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So talking about the motherland, it's unique going back to connect to Africa.
Yes.
Tell us, when you went to Kenya, I know you've been there several times, but the one time that is stuck in your memory, say, these people, they are so loving, they are so kind. I just don't have words to describe them enough.
Yes.
How I feel about the African people.
Yes.
Have you been through that?
Absolutely. In fact, I remember one time, I've been to Africa since I was young, many times, and the countries I've visited, obviously Kenya, but Uganda I've been to also a number of times, and I got into the habit of traveling through Entebbe Airport and down to Jinja, and which is at the mouth of the Nile. And I had an experience standing there at one of these beautiful African-owned resorts right on the banks of the Nile. And I stood out there and I looked and I said, this is the most magical place I've ever been. And to this day, one of my favorite places in the world is Jinja, Uganda. I've never felt safer. I've never felt more captivated by the environment and the people, and just I feel at home. And it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. So when I went home or came back to the U.S., I mentioned having gone to Africa to somebody, I forget who it was now, and they said to me, "Well, gosh, is it safe?" And I had just had this wonderful experience. And
I'm laughing because sometimes that's the first thing that comes to mind when you're talking to someone who is non-African, that want to go to Africa or that want to have information about Africa. They think it's not safe. They think it's animals and women just run around all over the place, or it's a jungle. Right. Have you ever encountered people that will say something like that? I've literally had people write me letters saying, "Did you swim?
Did you swim? Did you
from Africa to the U.S.?
Did you? Yeah.
How?"
That's so funny. There's nothing in our head that says, from our learning in school, that Africa's a wonderful, amazing place. And when you go there, expect to be mesmerized like I was that day in Jinja. So there's a lot of, we just don't know. We don't know. We didn't grow up with stories. I grew up, now I'm 54, but I grew up watching the old black and white Tarzan. And so if you think there's nothing there in Africa, then of course you might be resistive to imagining standing on the banks of the Nile and eating good fresh food.
We're going to elaborate on that, and then we're also going to talk on how people of our color that they don't want to appreciate or want to be associated with anything African. But we need to take a quick break to acknowledge our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to talk on that. Don't go away. You're back with our beautiful show, the Yaba TV show. I can sit there and brag about this show all day. I love it. It's a passion for me. That's why over the years, I kept doing it until I landed on Channel 9, KK9. Woo! So, before we took a break, I mentioned that we're going to talk on where people of the same caliber that look like you and I, African descent, but they don't want to do anything or have anything to do with Africa. Yeah. Tell us.
And you know, when Count Volney went to, who was a French count, went to Egypt, 1792, published The Ruins of Empire, he talked about looking at the people and the ancient monuments there and how that represented a class of people who at that time were, well, our fortunes were on the decline, to be honest with you. but there is a legacy and a history that has become hidden. And so for many of us of African descent, even on the continent of Africa, I've looked at the school books that my cousins have learned in Kenya. And not to slight religious studies, but it does limit, the school books do limit the content about Africa. And so when you talk about the peopling of the Nile Valley, and by the way, one of the greatest African scholars of the 20th century is from Senegal, and his name is Cheikh Anta Diop. And he went to the 1978 symposium, the United Nations Symposium on the peopling of the Nile Valley. He and Théophile Obenga, a Cameroonian, the two of them went there. And the scholars who had argued for so many generations that the Egyptians were not black, they had nothing to...
Even though they're Africans.
Even though the Egyptians said that they were black. If you see King Tut's monument, his tomb and the statues of him, they're black as coal. And the Herodotus said that the Egyptians were black also. But that content is not something we're exposed to. So what Cheikh Anta Diop and Théophile Obenga revealed is that there are no substantive arguments against the truth that the peopling of the Nile Valley was driven by African culture, African peoples, African language, coming from out of Africa, up Nile Valley, from the center of Africa. So the antecedents to Egypt, and what does that mean? That means that more than just Senegal and the ancient kingdoms of Mali and what we find in Zimbabwe, Mona Matapa, and things of that sort, there's a wonderful, rich tapestry of African culture that we can look at in the recent 2,000 years. We go back very far.
Yes.
And so when we look at ourselves as being connected to antiquity, that's amazing. Our stock might be down now, but we are a people with an amazing historical legacy and contribution to the forward flow of humanity.
But it needs to be taught.
It needs to be taught.
And they are not teaching that in schools.
We don't learn it. So the realm of possibilities are not there. So in Africa, they do not learn, or oftentimes, this is my opinion, the brilliance of African Americans. So that when African people come here, they're learning the narrative of African Americans being thugs and loose and not people that they should associate with.
I had a lady tell me, your show is beautiful, but it's too African. I said, that's the purpose of the show. It's African.
Right.
But I also do bring African Americans,
yes,
where we connect and build a bridge,
yes,
and have a common dialogue. And I said, why don't you watch a little bit more of my show, and then you can at least be judgmental, instead of just say it's too African.
Right.
And that we want it to be too African, but we also share with African Americans, people of the same descent,
yes,
to share our commonness.
Yes.
What we have, not just in common, but the differences we have, how we can work on those differences to bridge that gap.
Yes.
Because not just for us, our children tomorrow, what legacy are they going to live for?
Right, right.
Honestly.
There is no place that anyone else in the world has carved out for the African man and woman, aside from with each other, raising the culture that we're supposed to take forward for our children, and they're supposed to carry it forward. So we have to find each other as a people and to hold on. And yes, the history is important, but the collaboration today is critical.
Yes.
And that will sustain us, I believe, and rediscovering who we are. It's very important because that's the world of possibilities. Right? I mean, when you're trying to figure out why am I like this, you do look back. You tend to look back at your past. You look at, well, how did my mom and dad raise me? What was my grandma like, and my grandpa? Why do I act the way I do? And so we as African Americans have a lot of scars and trauma from being in this country, and I think that has to be recognized. I think for African-born folks, they have their own traumas.
I want the audience to know how they can find out or where they can find PALS, but tell them a little bit about PALS before you give them your closing remark.
Appreciate that. PALS, as I mentioned a little earlier, we really do take pride in calling ourselves caregivers, because I do functional assessments. We look at where you're at and how we can help you best. But if you strip away some of those things, at its core, we're really a caring agency. We help people. We help support them to be who they can be. So like many companies, PALS Now is really looking for people who want to do this work. It's honorable work. And anybody who wants to contact me for services or to work can contact me at our Bellflower office. We operate from Santa Barbara to Simi Valley to El Monte to Downey to Hawthorne. We have offices from Santa Barbara to Ventura to LA County. So we cover a wide area.
Yes.
And if you want to reach us, you can call us at the main line, which is 562-426-5444. Or you can go online to our website and contact us there through www.palsworks.org.
I want to thank you so much for your time to dialogue with us. I don't take it lightly at all, because in order to bridge the cultural divide, you have to have people who believe in that, and you're one of those who believe in that.
Yes.
So I do thank you for your effort on the show and gracing our stage with what you know about the motherland, your experience as an African American and African,
Yes.
because you're both.
Yes.
Your mother is American and your dad is
father.
African. So you're African and African American.
Yes.
So I thank you so much for your dialogue with me on the show. I thank you for the value you bring to the show and for what you disseminate to our viewers, what they're saying. They love the dialogue, so continue with this. And yes, we will continue with the dialogue once a month. Otiana Okach will come and have a dialogue with me. And if you or someone you know is interested to find out a little bit more about Africa, this is the person to contact. We're not saying he has all the answers, but it will give you at least an idea of where to go, who to dialogue with. Maybe you refer you to the embassies. You never know, but just have a talk with him, right?
Yes, thank you for that.
Yes. So we do want to thank you again so much for coming to our show, and we wish you continuous success in your business.
I as well.
You and your lovely wife, and your entire family, your staff, continuous success to your business.
Thank you so much.
Yes, definitely. We need to take another quick break to acknowledge our sponsors. And of course, you know, we bring you the best music videos Africa has to offer.
Yes.
So we are going in for one of the best. So don't touch your dial. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch our TV broadcast today. I hope you enjoyed the music video and, of course, the dialogue with Otiana Jeffrey Okach. We are on every Sunday at 4 p.m. right here on KCAL 9. So you don't want to miss it. Tell your friends, tell everybody you know about our beautiful show. I literally brag about this show because there is no show like this on a major network bringing Africa to you, to your living room. So tell your friends about our show. Again, 4 p.m. on Sundays on KCAL 9. We do have a YouTube channel, Yaba Media. Go to our YouTube channel, watch some past shows. I'm pretty sure you enjoy most of them, if not all of them. But promise me one thing. I'd like for you to subscribe, like, share, and subscribe. I'll say that again. I'd like for you to like, share, and subscribe. And excuse me, English is not my first language, so if I make a little blunder, you can go with that. Till then, we will see you next week at the same time on the Yaba TV show, your contemporary bridge to the motherland, Africa.
The proceeding was a sponsored program paid for by Yaba TV.